Alright, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're skipping the fluff and jumping straight into the absolute high-stakes world of smart contract security. We are zeroing in on one specific, absolutely crucial thing, the require function. If you're building on a blockchain, you are basically building a digital financial fortress, and every single fortress needs a strong gate. That gate is exactly what we're going to master today. To really grasp why this matters so much, we have to look at the history. $60 million. Back in 2016, a reentrancy vulnerability in the DAO drained that exact staggering amount. It's an exploit that could have been totally mitigated with properly structured require statements. You see, in traditional software, a bug might mean your app crashes, right? But in Web3, bugs carry catastrophic, completely unrecoverable price tags. A tiny logic flaw can literally empty the bank in seconds.
And that brings us to the core reality of building on a blockchain, captured perfectly in this quote. Once deployed, its code is immutable. It cannot be changed. It's a massive double-edged sword. You get ultimate trustlessness. No one can just change the rules overnight. But on the flip side, you absolutely cannot push a quick Tuesday morning hotfix if you spot a bug. Because you can't change the code once it's live, you need an ironclad way to validate every single transaction before it actually runs.
Which brings us to Section 1, Meet the Gatekeeper.
Let's look at the actual definition of require. It's a state-reverting runtime validation statement used for expected conditions and user inputs. Honestly, just think of it as the ultimate bouncer at the door of your exclusive club. Before anyone even thinks about interacting with your contract's internal state, this bouncer is there, checking IDs, verifying permissions, and counting the funds. It makes absolutely sure everything is perfectly in order. And if it isn't, boom, you don't get past the velvet rope.
Moving right along to Section 2, when to use require. So when exactly do we deploy this bouncer? Well, you use require to handle the invalid, basically the expected user-facing conditions. We're looking at four main things here. First, validating user inputs. Like if you ask for a percentage up to 100 and someone types in 500, require stops it cold. Second, enforcing preconditions. Are they actually the contract admin? Do they have enough Ether in their wallet? Third, validating return values from external calls. If your contract pings another token contract, you really need to know if that transfer actually succeeded. And finally, checking invariants that depend on user input. Basically, if an external user can influence a condition, require is the tool you use to keep them in check. But here's the really interesting part. What actually happens when this gatekeeper says no? Let's say a user tries to buy an NFT. The required minimum price is 0.01 ETH, but they accidentally, or maybe maliciously, send only 0.005 ETH. What does our require function do in that exact split second? First up, execution halts immediately. Embodying that fail fast, fail loud philosophy, it doesn't wait around to see what happens on the next line of code. It drops a concrete wall right there to prevent any partial, potentially sketchy state changes. In smart contracts, partial execution is a security nightmare, so hitting the brakes instantly is paramount. Next, and this is a total lifesaver, it completely reverts all state changes made during the current transaction. Because blockchain transactions are atomic, meaning they are all or nothing, reverting means absolutely zero money moves, no storage variables are updated, and no events are broadcasted out. It is quite literally as if the transaction never even happened. Your contract state stays perfectly pristine. Finally, and this is crucial for a good user experience, require refunds all the remaining gas back to the caller. Remember, we use require to handle expected mistakes. If a user just has a typo, it's an honest error. The network doesn't want to ruthlessly punish them for that. So they only pay for the computational work right up until the failure, and the rest of their gas budget goes straight back into their wallet. Let's look at Section 3, gas behavior and custom errors. Let's talk about efficiency, because how we use this function has evolved a lot. If we look at the old way, before Solidity 8.4, developers stuffed these massive, long string messages into their require statements. Every single letter was stored in the bytecode, making those gates incredibly expensive to deploy. But today, it's a whole new ballgame. We now pair require with custom errors, which means we're only storing a tiny 4-byte selector in the bytecode. And the payoff for that small technical shift is absolutely massive. Moving to custom errors means your deployment gas costs are typically 30 to 50% cheaper. When you're launching a massive complex protocol, slashing your deployment costs by half is huge. Plus, it gives your front-end applications clean, structured data to parse, which just makes your entire dApp that much more robust. And finally, Section 4, the checks affects interactions pattern.
So how do we correctly place this gatekeeper in our broader security architecture to prevent things like that $60 million hack? It's all about the checks affects interactions pattern. Step 1, checks. This is the exclusive domain of your require statements. You lock down every precondition immediately. Step 2, effects. Only after all checks pass do you actually update your internal state, like modifying a user's balance. And finally, step 3, interactions. This is where you make external calls, like sending the actual ether. By forcing require to be step 1, you guarantee the gate is bolted shut before a single drop of value ever moves.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to really think about your own code. Ask yourself, are your require statements properly positioned to stop exploits before they even begin? Are you truly locking the gate, or are you just leaving the keys on the porch and hoping for the best? Mastering require isn't just about learning syntax. It's a complete mindset shift toward defensive, fail-fast programming. Keep those gates strong, put your checks first, and your smart contracts will absolutely stand the test of time. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and keep building securely.